In the wrestling world, the people are represented by two separate but unequally important groups. The wrestlers and bookers, who literally do all the hard work, and the fans, who endlessly nitpick and overanalyze everything they do. These are their stories.
Hey! It's Warhorse, and you need to shut your mouth, open your eyes, and clean out your ears, because it's time to listen to the Raw and Order podcast. That's right, they're bringing you the best in all that meaty podcasty goodness in one, what is it, an hour? Two? Who cares? Who gives a shit? You need to listen to it right now, or else Warhorse is gonna, roll your ass!
Welcome to another episode of Raw and Order, the Wrestling Booking Unit, the only wrestling podcast on the planet that is live at this very, very moment, broadcasting from my room at my apartment. Technically true. I am your host, Detective Mark Smarks, and I am joined, as always, by my partners in crime fighting. Starting off, District Attorney Vincent Kayfabe. What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm fucking pissed. This is what fucking happens when all you, and I know we're not directly into the podcast and we'll get there. This is what fucking happens when you're more worried about whether a guy, not a guy, you own the rights to a guy's name or not, or having the right look in the ring, and versus proper training and leadership and all that shit. And we're going to get into it tonight. This is going to be like the Wrestle Rant with a completely different subject here. And well, I'm fucking pissed. That's where I'm at.
I am hoping that we can eventually pivot into a little bit more lighthearted later in the show. But this show is going to start off somber and angry at times.
Very much like the fucking Wrestle Rant.
So we're also joined by our RCMP from up north, JLB. What's going on, man?
It goes good, sir. I'm not mad. I'm not angry. I'm very chill. I'm very nonchalant. I'm good. Unlike Fabe, and I'm here to do a podcast and get the wrestling talk going.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are a few things. A, you had a chance to already rant and rave a little bit. I didn't get to join you on your cheat podcast earlier today.
Yep.
Well, no, my one job during the day on the weekends is taking care of my family. That's my one job. And today it was.
It's also your one job during the weekdays. You just have
that's valid.
Do it on a different route with another job.
Unfortunately, I have two jobs during the weekdays. Three if you count this. Three job, yo.
Three job.
But
three jobs, yo. That's a shirt.
I was a little frustrated because I recently found out that a brand of shoes that as a child I yearned for so much, I wanted so badly that
Skechers?
then later, nope. Skechers are my favorite shoe brand on the regular. I ain't gonna even lie. I think they're the most comfortable shoes on the planet. But as a kid, I was a wannabe skater, and I yearned so much for a pair of Airwalks. Airwalks. And
okay.
they were so popular and so high end and all that stuff. And then they sold to the Payless shoe stores and became shitty for.
Became Payless.
Yeah, Payless for like 20 years. They recently got bought by JCPenney's brand, and they are now
Payless doesn't exist anymore, does it?
Exclusive. No,
Payless still
Payless
exists.
No, I thought Payless went under.
Yeah, me too.
Payless closed about 2 years ago.
There's still some in our stores out here, so.
Oh.
Huh?
Oh, lordy dum.
Good place to buy. My child is in the quickly growing stage shoes.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, let's see. Because the first headline when I look up Payless is, Payless, we're back.
It might be kind of like
Payless shuttered all of its U.S. stores in 2019, but then reopened stores starting in late 2020.
There you go.
So they're technically back, but part of shuttering
what
all
a
their
horrible
stores,
time to come back.
Yeah. Part of shuttering all their
Yes,
stores
he's
was
back.
apparently selling off all of their brands, their exclusive brands, because they were bankruptcy. And JCPenney's bought the Airwalk brand and has brought it back as a decent shoe, reportedly. And so I visited the two JCPenney's in my immediate vicinity to find a pair of Airwalks that I liked. And here, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know if they're good yet because I couldn't get a pair I liked because they were just fucking picked over and sold out at both stores. So obviously I'm not the only one who wanted Airwalks. anyways,
Why are we talking about this?
just because that was my other job this weekend. Was
Because
to
he's
try to get
also
some Airwalk
fucking
shit.
pissed.
I'm fucking pissed.
Completely
They couldn't
different
get my
reason.
Airwalk
Completely
shoes.
different reason. Okay, fair enough.
But yes, so before we get into ranting and raving and somberness, there's going to be somberness coming up. It is important to note right now get our bookkeeping all out of the way. Raw and Order is part of the Tatnisco Podcast Network. So after the show's over, in the doobly-doos, you can find links to tatnisco.com. You can head on over there and check out the other podcasts on the network and let them know that we sent you. Another interesting thing I only recently found out, it shows how often I've gone to the Tatnisco page. But apparently in the Dicebox Slam that Nyla Rose hosted or was a part of is no longer actively promoting anymore. So they apparently stopped doing that. And just 2 weeks ago, we ranted and raved about how great it was, and it just shows how
Full of shit we are.
Yeah.
Well, it says we don't watch it every time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
But
do you know when it
anyway.
left?
No, it's just gone from the page, and
Oh, just gone. Okay.
yeah. So, and I tried to do a search for the podcast. I couldn't find it, but I didn't
No
spend
bueno.
a ton of time looking because I
job.
didn't care
Wow.
that much. So,
Wow.
it was.
But it's brought to you by the Tatnisco Podcast.
But we're still part of the Tatnisco Podcast Network. There's still other
still there.
shows on the network.
We're still there.
We still have plans for Tatnisco to come, or Tatnis himself to come join us on our recap of WrestleMania in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. So, anyways, but on that note, we will go ahead and get into our ranting and raving. So, I mentioned somberness and we mentioned anger. I'm going to start with the somberness because it's the news that hit today. It's the most recent news, and it's the news that we have the least to really talk about because we don't know as much about it. But I take this time just to say our thoughts and prayers are out with Scott Hall and his family. Scott Hall, late yesterday evening, apparently suffered a series of heart attacks related to his hip surgery from last week. He fell and broke his hip, and they gave him hip surgery, and he apparently had a blood clot that dislodged and made its way to his heart. And yeah, 3 heart attacks, and he's on life support right now, and which sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. I mean, there's not much else we can say, but God, that sucks. Because he's been through a lot in his life and his career. He's worked really hard to recover from addictions and from treating his body horribly for a large portion of his life. And everything says he's made a huge turnaround in the way he treats his body and the way he treats other people and all of that stuff. And then this comes along, and it really it sucks. But so here's hoping.
I think he'll pull through, man. This guy has had more cats than has had more lives than cats have had. So I think this guy will pull through. Obviously, prayers and everything for his entire family and friends. But I have faith in Hall. He's been through worse, I feel. So
yeah, he was stabbed once, I believe, and then stabbed a guy.
That's it. So keep at it. You're a fighter, Hall. You can do it.
But yeah, it's
thoughts and prayers definitely with his family, and
I mean, here's hoping.
Yeah, what a blessing that it's something that kind of comes with age. I hate saying that, but rather than his alcoholism catching up with him or any of that
Exactly,
stuff. So,
like an overdose or something like that. So yeah,
how rough and still, like you said, it's JLB. It's good that that he's been as resilient as he has in life, because he's definitely been through a lot more difficult on the family. So
Well, and that's
thoughts and prayers, God's all of them.
Of all of the things to hit him, a random uncontrollable series of heart attacks is tough to wrap your brain around. After all the shit he's gone through.
Absolutely.
But But so that's the somber part, and I mean, like I said, we don't have hardly any news. There was that initial report; he's on life support, and there have been basically zero updates since then. Which I'm gonna go on the no news is good news thoughts here. That we're not hearing any information, but that means that things are still at least working. He's stabilized right now. Because if he took a turn for the worse, I think we'd hear about it. So, but now we're going to get on to the angry, because I can already tell DA Fabe's angry about it. I worked through stages on this. Anger was like my first one. I don't know exactly where I'm at now. I'm past anger. I'm past anger, but Big E. This is the one that we really need to talk about, because this is like we joke on the show about botches. We talk about it on our pay-per-view reviews. You know, this person botched or that person botched. We never want botches, and the botches that we talk and joke about are all of the oops, I messed up but no one was hurt variety. Right. But this week we had a botch that was not an oops, I messed up, no one was hurt. It was a someone is seriously hurt and may never wrestle again. We don't know. We can hope on it and all of this stuff, but so it was on SmackDown, and I thought we were just going to spend a large segment talking about Butch. That was my thought going into the SmackDown. I was like,
it's all about the Butch.
It's all about the Butch, baby. But no, they decided to say, no, you're not going to make fun of Butch, because instead we're going to almost kill Big E.
Yeah. Let's just get it out of the way. This goes not as much to it does go to Rich Holland, because he needs to know his limitations in terms of his ability to toss people around. But at the end of the day, this goes to booking. I have noticed significantly more of these belly-to-belly overhead suplexes, and every time they scare the shit out of me.
Yeah,
every time.
They're always a scary move.
It's been close with Drew Big E gave one to Drew McIntyre, but and I was like, oh my god. There's one where Drew McIntyre gave one to Big E, and oh my god. When Brock does them.
When Drew McIntyre does them, because you kind of watch him, he kind of goes like this, and he doesn't ever like fully clinch. He just kind of goes like this, and he expects the person taking the bump to basically just jump and flip themselves over, right?
Correct.
It's almost nothing.
When Brock does it, you physically see his hands go into the hips to finish throwing.
And the one thing I can say with Brock, it's the same thing that goes back to when Taz did it. So you can watch on especially on belly to belly overhead release suplexes. It's all about the hips, the popping the hips, and the flexibility in the back, right?
Yep.
Because you have to bend, and I can't do it. This is why I don't try to do it, right? You have to be able to bend your back to almost horizontal before releasing the person.
Correct.
Right? Which
and
means
you have to be able to push them.
Yeah. And so you have to be able to support their weight. Of course, they're going to be jumping to help. That's the whole thing with wrestling. Let's not get twisted on it, But they're going to be jumping to help. But you've got to be able to throw your back all the way backwards, pop your hips forward, and get them over there and help them do the rotation. And the problem is, when we watched Ridge do it, first he tried to do it once and could barely get Big E up. And then so you saw him, he go like this, and he can't. And so then he set Big E down, and then he just kind of threw him over his head. No popping the hips, no leaning backwards, just kind of up. And effectively, that just took all control out of Big E's side and just dropped Big E on his head. And 2 fractures in the spinal cord, the C1 and C4.
In his hands?
He's got full. That's the good news is he's got use of his hands and his toes, and he can move all extremities. He's got 2 fractures, the C1 and the C4 vertebrae. They don't see spinal damage yet, but they're still going to do some looking. But there's at that point, at the moment, they're thinking he probably won't have any permanent long-term effects of it,
Right.
except for when you break your C1. From what I've read, the C1 is the more dangerous of these 2. C1s have a habit of not fully ever healing again.
Okay.
And if they don't heal again, his wrestling career is over, right? And so that's where, we're in danger of never seeing Big E wrestle again. Now, will he have a part in WWE once he's back? Yeah, of course. He's way too entertaining for them to not. They'll move him to commentary or backstage interviewer or
new ring announcer, for heaven's sakes. I'd be okay with that.
New ring announcer or manager for the New Day. Something like that. He'll have a part. There's no doubt about that. But it would just be an absolute shame for this to be the end of his in-ring career because of this stupid
managerial decision. It is exactly what NXT is right now.
Well,
it is exactly Vince McMahon. Yeah. It is Vince McMahon saying, "Hey, I'd like to see the guys that look like this," and putting them in this place. Ridge Holland was immediately injured on his own bump upon entry to NXT. Then he comes back, he gets a week in NXT, and now they have him following Sheamus around. He has not had the training that it takes, and we see this left and right in NXT now, and we're pushing the envelope with safe maneuvers that are less, that look dangerous. Well, that's not a safe maneuver that looks dangerous. The one that broke Stone Cold's neck is a safer maneuver. Look, let's bring him back on. There we go.
Lost you for a moment.
So Stone Cold.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Stone Cold breaking his neck to a pile driver was generally considered a safer maneuver than something where you're doing an overhead release of somebody with their head facing the ground.
That's what I can say is the only bright side to this, and I hesitate using that word, but it's about the only real word that works here, is we've seen how Vince McMahon reacts to moves that cause an injury, right? He banned pile drivers for 10 years.
Yeah.
And only recently started allowing some people. The only person he ever allowed to break the ban originally was Undertaker because he did a tombstone pile driver instead of a sit-out pile driver.
Correct.
I don't think Vince even lets too many people do sit-out pile drivers anymore.
The powerbomb was temporarily banned at one point by Bischoff. That's because Kevin Nash couldn't get the Giant up for the powerbomb. That's just when you go, hey, there's your storyline, and the dude's too big to be powerbombed. Don't powerbomb him and make the storyline.
But so Vince McMahon did that. The shooting star press, Vince McMahon banned that after Brock hurt himself, and there's the famous story of when Evan Bourne, now known as Matt Sydal in AEW, when Evan Bourne wanted to do it, he made Evan Bourne hit 20 of them in a row, successfully, in front of him before he greenlight Evan Bourne doing it. So Evan Bourne just had to literally, there's a crash pad. He just had to go up, do one, get up, do one, get up, do one. And I mean, here's the deal. 20 any maneuvers in a row is going to be tough, right? Tough on anybody.
Right.
But 20 shooting star presses in a row.
That's a whole nother level.
Yeah, another level. And so that's the only way that he was allowed to do it. And it took a long time before anyone other than Evan Bourne was allowed to do it on WWE TV.
Right.
So my expectation is that we will hear through the dirt sheets that Vince McMahon has made an announcement that the release belly to belly overhead is at least temporarily banned. I would expect it to be gone for years now in WWE. And you know what? I mean, I love suplexes as much as the next guy. The human suplex machine Taz back in the day was so much fun to watch. But in the end, I'm not gonna cry if I don't see another release belly to belly in a long time. I wish they'd bring back the butterfly suplex or the double underhook suplex, whichever way you want to
I'd
call
be okay with that.
We haven't seen that in forever. It's a lot safer of a move.
Yeah,
It
'cause you're
looks
carrying the
super
neck.
cool.
Yeah.
Because it starts off kind of like a power bomb, and so by the time they're coming to the mat, they're already flipped over onto their back. There's very little worry about neck damage.
I'd like to see people get trained Chris Benoit style in the snap suplex. Or we've all loved the standing carry suplex for the guys that are capable of doing it.
The stalling vertical suplexes. Yeah.
Yep.
We see those a lot on AEW. AEW also likes to do the brainbuster suplexes, which look dangerous, but are actually considerably less, because if you actually watch the way they do it, they're forcing the person's neck to tuck when they come down. So they come down on their shoulders, not their neck.
Oh, snap. Nice. Okay.
So it looks like a brain buster, but in reality,
it's just
their head is right here and they still land on their shoulders.
Correct.
Anyways.
Correct.
But yeah, the stalling vertical suplex, the brain busters, the snap suplexes, those are all great. The belly to belly suplexes, although not belly to back suplexes, like the German.
And I'm not a huge fan of the German
those
release, but done incorrectly.
Yeah,
I feel like Brock is gonna mess someone up eventually, though.
Those can be. Well, I think the problem Brock.
I think Kenny Omega's gonna mess somebody up with his dragon.
The dragon
can be skilled.
The thing with the dragon is, again, it's kind of one of those things where because you are basically full Nelsoning them, you've actually got your hands behind their neck.
Yeah,
when you go back, so you're forcing them to tuck their neck, and you're forcing the major impact to be on their shoulders and your hands. But yeah, no, I mean, it's the release belly to backs, like the Germans release German suplexes. Those are always tough, and I think Brock might hurt someone, because I think Brock tends to get overzealous about him, because he knows how much he's known for just throwing people around. So sometimes he throws them, I hate to say too hard, but they start to over rotate in the air, and that's where the problem comes. I would prefer to see less release suplexes and more, like a bridging German suplex. I'd love to see a lot more of that, but like I say, I would expect to see WWE announce, or maybe not announce, but you find out that WWE has put a hold on release overhead suplexes, probably of any sort, for a short period of time, just because they don't want the negative publicity to blow back on them because of it, right? But it's just, I mean, so much about that night, that whole thing is frustrating, because, like I said, this has to do entirely with training. It didn't have to happen. Ridge Holland should have known when he couldn't get him up for the first one. This is not a new move you power through. Let's pivot to something I can hit.
Ridge Holland is fairly new, though, right?
He isn't. He was a British wrestler for prior, and so let me.
I'd be more interested to know if this was part of his moveset for a while or not.
Yeah, that would be interesting too. But I mean, I'm not going to put a lot of blame necessarily on Ridge Holland. Sure, he should have maybe have known when he couldn't get him the first time, but I'm taking it under this is pure accidents. I'm sure they have talked about this.
The only other piece that I would have on that same note is I want to know who was calling the shots at that point. In the
That's what I
match.
mean. That's what I mean, though. I'm
I-
sure it was.
If
talked
it was
about.
Ridge Holland, that's a poor mistake on Vince's behalf too. It should have been Big E calling those shots, and when he missed the first one, Big E should have been like, "Hey, hold up,
But I feel like he would have.
belly, turn."
I feel like he would have told him, like, no, bro, listen, that first one didn't end up being good. Do something else. Do a suplex. You know what I mean? Like,
Then just do a standard belly. Turn my body. And,
that's it. Do a belly to
Yeah.
belly.
So yeah, he wrestled on the Indies in 2017 and 2018 before signing the British Indies, I believe, like Defiant Pro Wrestling and looks like Progress right there.
You're defiant.
Show you Defiant.
You're pro wrestling.
I in fact am a district attorney in pro wrestling.
Pro wrestling. There you go.
In the pro wrestling multiverse.
But I, it's just one of those things. I'm gonna put some blame on him. Not a ton.
I'm not going to
still,
be like, oh, he should get fired. Screw him. He should never wrestle.
But he should. This should be a place where he should know that you can't do certain things, right? If you can't do it reliably in training, then you shouldn't try to do it.
Maybe he did it good in training. We don't know. We don't have enough info for that, though. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it was ill will. It was just an accident.
I think yes, there was an accident, but again, this 100%, you could see he grabbed him, he goes like this, and he can't get him up. And that right there, an experienced wrestler would know right then, this is the time where I move to something else. I pivot and change, right? If you can't get someone up on the first go, then that's a sign that you shouldn't be trying that move. An experienced wrestler would know that. Now, again, I'm not trying to say he should lose his job or lose his career and never wrestle again. I'm saying that he needs to at least take this as a learning thing and take some time and look back and say, hey, there are some moves that I can do and there's some moves I can't do. You know? When was the last time you saw Brock do a shooting star press? When he damn near broke his neck.
WrestleMania 20.
You know, and then he said, yeah, listen, I can't do this move. I'm not going to try it anymore. Right. Now I'll admit,
and he's done it a few times. He did it in NXT when he was in NXT and all that.
He did it in NXT, but he was never great at it. Right. And so it's one of those things he should have just known he was pushing himself too far. But once he messed up, now the fortunate thing for him is when Brock messed up, the only person that he could have injured was him.
Right.
So he was able to go, hey, I fucked up. I'm gonna roll on, and I'm never gonna try that again.
Right.
Good.
Legit.
I mean, kudos to Holland, though. He did go to the hospital afterwards. He didn't just like, oh, whatever, the guy's hurt. I feel bad. I'm not going to do anything, though. He went to the hospital to see Big E, obviously apologized there as well. So kudos to him for at least taking that next step and doing that as well. I don't know, man. Like, I think Twitter was really shitting on Holland. I get that.
Wait, hold on a second. Twitter shitting on someone? What?
I know. It's just a very unfortunate accident, and here's to hoping that it doesn't end up like an Edge scenario. We know Big E doesn't need surgery, but if the C1 is as messed up as it is, where that's the most important one that really can just determine your career anyways, that's not a good sign. And here's to hoping that we get to see some more Big E in the future.
I mean, he's got a long recovery road ahead.
I imagine he's then off WrestleMania for sure.
Oh yeah, no, we probably won't see him in a WWE ring for at least a year now.
Oh wow, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
with this sort of stuff, because he's gonna have his neck immobilized for months. Because with fractures in those, any motion in those can actually cause spinal damage. So they said there does not appear to be signs of spinal damage yet, but
There's some time.
he moves his head the wrong way, spinal damage, So they're going to have his neck immobilized for months, right? They're probably going to have that immobilization going down to his shoulders as well, which then means he's not going to be lifting weights.
Oh, of course not.
He's not going to be running or jogging or anything like that. So
maybe he's going to be on Up, Down, Down with Xavier.
He might. Once he gets to a point where he can reliably sit up for long periods of time. And,
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
and all this he might because holding a controller and doing this is something he can probably do. Mm-hmm. But my point is, after doing all of this to recover from this, he's going to find himself not in wrestling shape. Right. So he's going to spend 6 months recovering to a point where he doesn't have to wear a neck brace anymore, just to live his life. And then he's going to have to start working out. And then that working out's going to have to be carefully monitored because he won't be able to do anything that could damage his C1 or C4 vertebrae.
Right.
And so that's going to go down. And so that's why I'd say I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him for at least a year, maybe a year and a half.
There's also, in terms of a person that trying to put a positive spin on it, because you said I had to later, or the podcast was going to go positive. There's no other wrestler I would rather cut the Mike Tyson promo of I broke my back. Mm-hmm. No, spinal.
So
if you haven't seen it, look that up on YouTube.
Yeah. No, spinal.
No, did you? By the way, did you post the comment that we had there? It's just an emoji, but
it's just emojis. I didn't put it up here yet, but look, it's emoji. Referee saying touchdown.
Touchdown. Or in this case, the X.
I wish they were throwing up the X. That would be.
Did the ref throw the X? Did the ref throw up the X in the match?
I got to be honest. I don't know because I'm sure they did. But to clarify for anyone out there, when we talk about C1 and C4, the C1 vertebrae is the one right at the base of your head, and the C4 is right in the middle of your neck, just down here. So the C1
it's also explosive.
The C1 is the one that apparently is the most danger because that's the one when you go like this, any movement of the head hits that. You know what I mean? Mm. So that's why they have to immobilize his whole neck because he can't even do any of those movements.
Right.
So, yeah. And then the C4 falling down, that's a tough one. I want to say the C4 was one of the ones Kurt Angle had.
Edge and Kurt Angle had, yeah. Spinal stenosis is in that 4 to 8 range usually, or 4 to 6 range down in the lumbars.
Yeah. Well, Wikipedia just says 2 of his cervical vertebrae. And I'm like, well, yes, 2 of them. Which ones?
We have how many? We have 6?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't know. This is why we ask questions. And so that's it. I mean, there's only so much we can talk about with that, aside from let's hope Big E recovers quickly, but also at the same time make sure he's done the recovery he needs to. Don't rush it. I know wrestlers talk about wanting to get back and so on, but don't rush it. You know what I mean? Like, you'll still have a job when you come back. People still love you. Oh, and boy, do people love you. The entire wrestling community, from anyone who is anyone, sent nothing but love and support. And just shows so much of a great guy he just genuinely is. regardless of promotion or federation and all that.
If there's one thing we learned 100% from this, though, is that heel Big E is not what we need. People have been talking for years about, we need to get dark Big E, we need to get heel Big E, and this guy is smiling from his hospital bed with his head in a brace, and he can't move, and giving the finger movement and thumbs up and everything. That's the power of positivity is what we need from Big E.
Yes.
And so whenever he comes back in whatever role he comes back in, that's the Big E we need. Now, that doesn't mean he can't have an edge and he can't get vicious at times. If he's back to wrestling, he can be like Edge and be vicious, but he can't be like Edge and be bad. At least not for a long time, because this is what we need to see is the power of positivity, and from his hospital bed, he's showing us what sort of character he is. You know, they often say in wrestling,
he even made a joke.
Yeah.
Hey, if you ever do break your neck, make sure you break your neck in Birmingham because they treat you really well here. I'm like, oh my god.
And that's the deal. Is in the end, it comes down to they often say the best characters in wrestling for a wrestler is just their own personality turned up to 11, right? And that's what we need from Big E is this Big E turned up to 11. And so here's hoping that everything goes great and that he comes back in full form and
straight up
everything.
Big E rocks. Big E rocks.
Yes. But like JLB said, don't rush it. Don't push yourself back too fast, right?
Absolutely.
Make sure that you're getting all the clearances. Make sure that the doctors are on board with every step of the way before you try. The last thing we want to hear is an injury while working out, sidelining him longer or permanently. We just don't want to hear that at all. So,
right.
But on that news, let's move on to less pissed off and somber news, and let's talk about maybe some fun things in the world of professional wrestling. Is it okay for us to have fun every once in a while now?
No.
Yes. No, apparently not. Not if you're WWE. Not if you're Vince McMahon. No, wrestling shouldn't be fun.
Did somebody sneeze?
Yes.
No,
we're gonna take Pete Dunne and we're gonna call him Butch. Butch.
I mean, I'm not a huge Pete Dunne fan. I do enjoy his wrestling. I hate his finger breaking. But you know, it's a little minor thing, I guess. But yeah, Butch sounds stupid. Why you're having him with Sheamus, God knows.
I get putting him with Sheamus because Ridge is British. Pete Dunne is British with I think it's a heavy Liverpudlian accent. I think that's where he's from. And then Sheamus, of course, being Irish, right? So you're having this UK faction and everything. But here's the deal. When was the last time you heard of a British guy named Butch? That's not a British name.
It was Friday.
It was Friday, yes. He was dressed up as a newsboy, and his name was Butch. And that's my thing is, I mean, I can Google here, top British men's names.
I thought you were going to Google Butch. You would find a whole bunch of different things.
Well, they did make a point of saying that that's not his actual name, just a nickname.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's still. So here's the deal. You want to give him a new name, right? And you don't want to reuse a previous name, or something like that. You know, you could do an Alexander. Oliver's a great British name.
Very typical, but yes.
That's fine, you know. Let's
but it's more so just kind of like you wrestled as Pete Dunne your whole freaking career, even in NXT when you were in WWE. We've seen the same shit with Walter now that he's Gunther. I just don't get his meaning behind this.
Archibald, that's a great British name. Archibald.
Archibald. That is nice. I like that.
Because here's the deal. Like, I originally thought, why don't they call him Alistair? Alistair is such a great British name. But then I thought to myself, oh, they probably don't want to
associate Alistair Black.
Yeah, with Alistair Black.
Think about that again. Right.
Barnaby. That's a British name.
That's a lame British name. No offense to anyone listening whose name is Barnaby.
Balthazar.
It's that sounds like a Pokemon.
Roland. Wilfred. Rupert. Rupert's a great. Percival. Yeah.
Rupert is not a wrestler name, though.
Neither is Butch. Not by itself, at least. There's got to be something else to it.
Butch the Destroyer. Butch.
Here's what you do. You name him Fergus, right?
Jesus Christ.
And then you have Finn Balor saying, "Wait, you told me I couldn't be Fergal," and you're like, "Yes, this is Fergus. It's different." Horatio is a awesome British name.
I feel like I'm just gonna do Horatio Kane lines all the time. Well, it looks like the cat's out of the bag. Wow. Sorry. All right.
Laszlo, that's a good one.
Personal.
Oh, you could really have fun and name him Wyndham.
Well, that's pushing buttons.
Inigo. You could do Inigo.
Yeah, Inigo might be cool.
But that's my point. Is in the end, I know what it is. It's two parts. It's WWE wants to have trademark. We've talked about this before. Pete Dunne owns the trademark on his own name. And so they can't trademark it and monetize it exclusively. So they want to rename him to something they can monetize.
You think Adam Cole would have changed his name if he went up to the main roster?
I think they would have made him change his name. It was talked about. It's one of the jokes that AEW has made all the time, is that was one of the things that WWE pitched to him, that he was going to come up to the main roster and they were going to change his name. Mostly for this reason. But, I mean, you look at it, almost all of them, either when they come into NXT or when they come up to the main roster, get their name changed. It's very
Wasn't
rare.
Karrion's Cross still named Karrion Cross?
He was Killer Cross on the Indies.
No, but I mean NXT was Karrion.
But when he came to NXT, they changed his name to Karrion Cross.
Oh,
so they trademarked Karrion Cross.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Well, that worked though.
Yeah, I mean it worked, but in the end, it's still the same thing. It's why either when they come to NXT or when they pull up to the main roster, they like to change their names.
Change the name in NXT then. Don't wait for them to get out of NXT.
No, because again, I'm not 100% against name changes. I hate it when they're dumb, right? But I didn't hate Killer Cross to Karrion Cross. I like Killer Cross better, but I got why they didn't want it to be Killer Cross for a couple reasons. A, they couldn't trademark it and make money off it. There's that. But B, WWE likes to present itself as a more family-friendly
show.
And having a person whose name is Killer kind of straddles that line a little more than they'd want. I get it. Mm-hmm. But so many. I mean, it's why Tyler Black became Seth Rollins.
Right.
Tommy End became Malachi Black. I do think it's funny. It's kind of funny if you go back in the history of WWE name changes. Very often, they've taken an independent.
I wonder why they kept Samoa Joe.
The ones that they let keep usually are ones who've established a huge name for themselves elsewhere. Yeah. And by huge name, I mean really large following. World Championship.
CM Punk.
Following.
Yeah, that's valid.
But, but what I'm saying is it's kind of funny to watch how often they've taken a name away from someone who came, like Tyler Black. And then a little bit later, someone else comes in and they give that person part of that one's name. So you had Tyler Breeze, who took the Tyler part, and you had Aleister Black, who took the Black part. You had Bailey, who wrestled on the Indies as Davina Rose, comes into WWE, in NXT, and they say, no, we're going to change your name to Bailey. But then a little bit later, they sign this fitness model, and they say, you're going to be Mandy Rose, right? So they take these names, and they're like, oh, these names are good. We're just going to tweak them a bit and give them to someone else instead. Because it's happened repeatedly throughout of it. Who was it? Someone wrestled as something Knox before they wrestled in WWE, and then when Tegan Knox came in, they gave Tegan Knox the Knox name. It happens repeatedly there. Hey, look, more fire emoji.
Fire. Maybe the referee like that was him just being very happy that Tom Brady is out of retirement again.
Yeah, he's like, hey, Tom Brady, gonna come
Go!
out.
If that guy's all about Tom Brady, we shouldn't let him be. Never mind.
Yeah. Yep, we're gonna block that guy. That's what we're doing.
Jesus. Well, there goes your Twitch follower.
No, yeah, that's the non-wrestling news. As Tom Brady came out, I could have guessed he was gonna rescind his retirement when he did it, and here's why. When you make an announcement so quickly after you've lost a game, and knocked yourself out of the playoffs, it's about emotion. That was an emotional reaction. And then after the emotions fade for a bit and you get back to your daily life, you start thinking, oh, maybe I can still do it. Maybe I was too early. And that's obviously what happened. Is after a while, he's like, you know what? Let's go ahead and think about this.
His wife was sick of him having him home. Like, Tom, you're freaking annoying, bro. Go do something. Go back to work.
So, he'll be
yeah,
back
I mean, that's it. I just
season.
didn't think you would do it that soon. Like, bro, take a year off. Enjoy a year. Come back next year. I mean, I don't think...
With football, much like wrestling, when you take a break, it's really hard to get back into the top form that you were before, right? And since he was at the peak of quarterbacking at one point, every year, if he were to take a year off, he'd fall farther and farther behind. He's already, and I'm not saying this to knock him in any way, shape, or form. He's already on the downturn of his career, right?
Right.
Which
No,
is
whatever.
fine.
He's going to take a break in a year or two anyways for a long while. So
that's the deal. Is he's on the downturn. He's eventually going to retire.
yeah.
It's just when he decides that he's far enough down, But he's changed the game in terms of when quarterbacks retire, right?
Mm-hmm.
The average lifespan in the NFL of a quarterback used to only be like 8 years.
Oh, snap. Wow.
And he's at what, 20?
22, 21?
I think it's even more than that, 20.
Well, he was with the Patriots for 20, and he was with the Bucks for 2, no? So, yeah, 22.
Let me see when he was drafted to be certain.
I mean, sure, just don't believe me either. It's fine.
No, I don't believe you.
Okay. That's fine.
Fair assessment. Fucked up, but fair.
You know what I don't believe?
He was drafted. He started his first game in 2000 even. So yeah, 22 years.
So how many years? 20 what?
Yeah, exactly.
What?
But
22 years?
but so
who was right?
But again, that's 12 years longer than the average quarterback before. Now, the average running back lifespan is like 2 years, right?
Damn. It's more like 4, but yeah.
It's 2, but here's the deal. It's brought down by 1 and outs or less than 1. Do you know what I mean? And so that's why I say average is tough. The median, if you take out the outliers of those people who got drafted and came in and burnt out in 1 year, tore their ACL and never played again, you might get up to 3 or 4, but yeah, it's like about 2 when you do the overall average, because you get some people who last for 8 years, but you get a dozen people who burn out in 1.
All right.
Oh,
so less
wrestling.
football, more wrestling.
He's gonna snore. We're just gonna mute him, and then we're gonna go on and talk about anything.
So, guys, if you ever want a volunteer job, I hope you don't take WWE's volunteer job of being a WrestleMania All Access attendee. Did you see this email that they sent to people?
I did not, but I'm sure it's fucking nightmare fuel.
And basically they're like, oh yeah, so you'll be doing this stuff, you'll be greeting people, whatever, probably working a crazy bunch of hours, and we'll offer you a T-shirt and a hat and a chance to go to Raw on the Monday.
Wait. They don't even give them free tickets to WrestleMania?
No. I mean, if it was free tickets to Mania, hell yeah, I'd do it. You know what I mean? I mean, I probably might even do it. I think it's for the weekend. So if it was for the weekend, I would probably do it just to put it on my CV as volunteer work. Hey, if I could all right, can I put WWE as volunteer work? Yeah, cool. I'm down. Let's do it. I'll do it for volunteer. I'll work my ass off for 3 days. Let's go. I'm down. But I think it might be the whole week. And the whole week, just getting a shirt and a hat when you're just made $1 million for a maybe to Raw? Like, no. No bueno. Like, how are you going to do that? Like, okay, cool. Maybe I might get a chance to meet some wrestlers. Maybe I might get a chance to get some shit signed. But I mean,
but for sure, I'm going to Mania. All right.
For sure, Mania. Super down. Super down. Sign me up, Buttercups.
Even nosebleeds. Like, yep.
Volunteers needed for WrestleMania Superstore access. The most stupendous WrestleMania in history is coming to Dallas. An unprecedented Superstore access will descend on Kay Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center from Thursday, March 31st through Monday, April 4th. Superstore access will include the largest assortment of WWE merchandise ever, photo opportunities with WWE and WrestleMania memorabilia, and immersive experience through Undertaker's Graveyard, and more. Join us in providing one-of-a-kind experience for the WWE Universe in Dallas. Volunteers must be 18 years of age or older. Positions include greeter, assisting with photo ops, prop handler. Volunteers receive WrestleMania Superstore Access shirt, WrestleMania hat, entry into a raffle for Raw tickets.
And so there you go. You won't even get to even see a wrestler. It's wrestling memorabilia. Like, what the hell, bro? From Thursday to Monday? There's GTFO, bro.
There's the assisting with photo ops. You'll probably see wrestlers for that. The photo
of the memorabilia, I think it is.
No, I'm sure they'll have actual wrestlers come in for that. But it's still, again, it's one of those things where I'm going to volunteer for a T-shirt and a chance to go to Raw.
You forgot the hat, by the way.
Oh, the hat's the deal breaker. I'm in now.
Hats?
Yes.
And I think they mentioned it was like a WrestleMania access from like the whatever that venue is. It's not even like a WrestleMania T-shirt. It's like a WrestleMania access shirt for that store.
It's what it is it's your employee shirt. Yeah. It's your uniform. You get to keep your uniform. Exactly. Is what they're saying. The hat's probably part of the uniform too. They're like saying, volunteer and we'll give you a uniform and we won't ask for it back.
Yeah.
Guess what? I worked at a fast food place and I didn't give them their uniform back. So joke's on them. Okay.
How cheap can you be though? That's messed up.
We have 3 packs remaining.
Oh, snap.
1 through 3.
What?
1 job.
1 it is. Off the top.
Oh.
Let's find out.
Speaking of off the top, you guys think I should get a haircut? This looks pretty crazy. Huh?
Yes. Dirty hippie.
Hey. I'll go tomorrow. I'll get a haircut tomorrow.
Tomorrow. And then you say sorry.
Sorry. Tomorrow.
Let's see if we continue our streak of barely having anyone who's no longer with WWE. First off, Shelton Benjamin.
Ain't no stopping me, no.
Still WWE. We've got a holo card of Angel Garza.
Hey, Conquistadors.
We got our Superstar Miz card.
Awesome.
Of the 2009 Miz when he's drafted to Raw. R2 Allen and Ginter. This might be my favorite Allen and Ginter pull set yet.
Yeah.
Little Miss Bliss.
Yay.
And
Oh,
Mr.
yeah.
Perfect?
Mr. Perfect.
Nice. That is perfect.
That set there might be thing. And then the final two cards. Oh, we get someone who's not with WWE anymore. John Morrison. And finally, we mentioned him earlier, Mr. Styles himself.
Jesus, you have like 4 AJ Styles cards.
Let's find out exactly how many I have.
Oh,
I have an
geez.
AJ Styles sticker, so that'll count, right?
Counts.
So that
Oh,
puts
what's
us
in the
at
card deck?
2, right?
There was like another one, and I think you also had one with an Allen and Ginther one.
We're at 2 so
How much did you pay for this pack?
$20 total for the
10.
11.
Okay, I guess that's not bad.
I'm still at 2.
I feel like there was one he was getting ready to do his phenomenal forearm, or like he's in the air.
I think I only have 3 because
Okay, so maybe 3.
the sticker has him posing on the turnstile, doing his hand thing.
Okay, right. Nice.
And then trying to see if he shows up as a backup in one of the other ones, like he's getting a move done to him by someone, but I have Apollo Crews punching Big E on the top of the head. I did already have an Angel Garza. Is it the same Angel Garza? It probably is.
Why, you saying
Yep.
Angel Garza can't do different poses?
I was hoping it'd be a different one, but I was pretty sure this would be the same one. So I already have the same one. But this one's at least a hollow variant, so. Yep, so I just have the 3 AJ Styles right now.
Okay, nice.
I mean, that's still 2 more cards of someone than I have of most of the other people, but
It's valid.
Yep.
Bam.
so 2 more. I'm probably going to go buy another box of some sorts of cards to start up. I'm hoping I can find the AEW cards somewhere.
Travel a bit.
They're
Travel
they're
beyond
apparently
your-
really hard. Like stores order them and get backlogged for months on them
Oh,
because they're in
Jesus.
such limited quantities. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
yes, I will definitely give the T-shirt and the hat to anyone who does all of those things. All of them. Every single one of those, right? Yeah.
In fact, we will hire 2 if there's 3.
Yeah. 3.
If
If
there's
one in each
available in each location. Yeah.
So that means 3 hats and shirts up for grabs out there, people.
And a chance to be on a future Raw and Order.
Yeah. It's
Whoa.
it's fire there. So no, a pretty decent pack. I'm really excited for those Allen and Ginters. Those that like alone, each one of those alone were really good. But Mr. Perfect and Alexa Bliss all in the same pull.
Yeah, pretty fire.
So 2 more to go. I'm kind of hoping I get at least 1 signature card in these, but I'm not finding any yet. So, anyways, we're gonna move on to other fun things. I have to talk. Oh, we've got someone who's in. Someone who's in. You hit us up with your info in the private chats, and we'll get you out here. Just so you know, I've got sensitive feet, so you have to be real careful with those foot rubs. Right? Don't be too light because
Get
then
some
they
training,
tickle.
man. Like
Then they
you
tickle.
probably ought to be properly trained before you come do this.
Yeah.
If you want a T-shirt and a hat. Speaking of T-shirts, Smarks, have you gotten yours yet?
No, I was hoping it would arrive today. In fact, I got
It
notification.
shipped.
I got notification on Thursday that there was a package supposed to be arriving on Saturday, and I was all excited. And And then it turned out just to be my second shipment of COVID tests because the government opened it up to anyone who'd received the first set of 2 could order a second set of 2, and I just did. So I was like, I thought it was going to be a short.
From a store. In my
These
possession, I didn't go get free government ones.
Yeah. These are free government ones, so I got 4 now.
Good job.
But
Man.
for free.
Well, good job. I'm not
Yeah,
discrediting you for
I'm
that.
taking it for free. Anyways, but I did then today get notification that it's supposed to be delivered tomorrow. So if everything goes right, I'll be wearing the Those Who Can't Wrestle podcast shirt on Tuesday night show.
Well, it does say on the shipping order 3/8 to 3/16.
Mm-hmm.
So,
in talking about the government really quickly and saying, getting the free COVID test, I do also have to give some props to the IRS for their turnaround on getting me my refund this year. We filed last Saturday and got them this Saturday. So 1 week turnaround on getting the refunds. I think that's pretty good. So
absolutely.
Anyways, but going on to talk about wrestling and fun stuff. I've got topics that I want to talk about, specifically AEW related. And the biggest one is, have you watched Hey EW yet?
No, I've been wanting to.
It just debuted this morning at the crack of dawn, they call it. It is the new AEW talk show hosted by our favorite smarmy independent wrestler, RJ City. And the first episode featured Danhausen. And it was awesome. They're only about 8 minutes long.
Just the trailer for it was fantastic. Watching Danhausen be like, "Oh, you're wasting electricity here. Let's turn this off."
I'm gonna shut this off. No, don't turn that off. That's how they know we're on air. Does that turn the camera on? Is that how the camera gets started?
No,
and that's actually in the actual episode. That was a clip from the beginning of the episode, but it was a great episode, and I can't wait to see more. I love the fact
when your entire trailer is the start of the episode, though.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good sign that it's going to be good.
One of the other jokes in it is RJ City starts asking questions, and they're questions that were obviously written for a certain other wrestler, which I thought was really funny. He's like, "Well, these are useless," but RJ City has been one of our favorite indie wrestlers for a while. I'm so excited that AEW is giving him a show. Here's hoping it lasts, because it's really fun. So
I don't really know why JOB has himself muted, but it's kind of fun that you could actually unmute your.
Wasn't RJ City? Wasn't RJ City technically a part of WWE?
Yes, he actually was part of WWE
WrestleMania last year.
Yeah.
Recap or
it was one of the ones he did, like an after show on night one, like a post show where he talked to some of the wrestlers and all that stuff.
I don't wonder, and I haven't been able to see any of his in-ring work, but I don't wonder if his in-ring work is a little bit behind his very wonderful personality work.
I'll have to put together a playlist for us all.
Yeah,
maybe we'll find some time to watch some RJ City matches and comment on them.
That'd be cool. Yeah,
hopefully there's some with Danhausen.
Oh, I'm certain there are.
Danhausen, very famous.
Very famous.
Did you guys watch the Van Housen thing as well?
The which one?
Danhausen, not Van Housen. That's the movie.
The Danhausen what?
Wasn't there a Danhausen thing today, or it's gonna be?
That's the Hey EW that we were talking about.
Oh, snap.
Hey, ew.
Hey, ew. No, it's Hey, EW.
No, but that was today, right?
Yes, that was today.
Snap. Was it worth to watch?
Yes, it's a short. It's only about 8 minutes long.
Unfortunately, it's also trademark material, so we cannot put it on here. Which means we cannot get very famous, very, very wealthy, because we're very evil and very nice here.
Speaking of evil, ladies and gentlemen, are you excited for the WWE Evil docu-series that's happening with the WWE villains that they're going to have on the network or on Peacock, I guess?
It's hard for me to get too excited about anything WWE
I mean,
doing right now.
I mean,
if
I
they're,
like
if
the
they're covering like the
documentaries,
Harley
though.
race nearly losing his life in every town he goes to, that's fair. Like, that's a dude committed to his career.
Mm-hmm.
If every town you go to, somebody's prepared to murder you, it's pretty good shot that you're committed to your career.
But no, RJ City is so good at playing its role on these that it's tons of fun. I think have they announced who's gonna be on next week yet? Probably not.
God, please let it be Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, just get all the best friends in.
Whatever.
Where do you plan on wrestling next? Wherever.
We about done with this. I have something.
RJ City tweeted, "I have minimal hopes for a second episode, so let's make this one count." But this is what I've said before. I don't like talk shows on my WWE product, on my wrestling show. I don't want to see them on Dynamite or on
This is
Rampage.
how you do it.
This is how you do it. You utilize social media. You put it out on your YouTube channel.
To get you a push for your television product.
Mm-hmm. That's the deal. This is about bringing eyes to the television product, not wasting your time on the television product. So,
right.
So I loved it. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. So, also have to talk because we've been shitting on WWE. So let's talk about something that was fun, and that's AEW Dynamite this week. Which, while it didn't get the top of a million viewers ratings that we were hoping, it still was the #1 cable show on TV that was not called news. Let's be honest. There's a little bit of news going on in the world today that's getting a lot of attention.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
So when you
wait, it Dynamite beat Raw and SmackDown?
We're talking about on that night. It was the #1 on that
Wednesday.
night.
Okay.
Yeah, specifically Wednesday. Although, even though it didn't break 1 million, Raw was down, I think, this week as well. So we're still,
Well, and SmackDown technically is not cable. It's network.
So, but it started off with Chris Jericho addressing Eddie Kingston. That ended up being the turn that we maybe all saw coming, but still enjoyed it happening. Right?
Shittiest name for a.
It's a dumb name. They missed the slam dunk, right? They missed
Inner Circle 2.0. Like, come on.
Which is also a great jab at WWE for the NXT 2.0 and
exactly.
you have 2.0 and the Inner Circle.
Exactly. It was a layup. It was, just here. You've got the Inner Circle. They've kicked out all the old members, and now they've got 2.0 in it. It's Inner Circle 2.0. But regardless of that, it still was a great heel turn.
Yeah.
Jake Hager really should be a heel. Because I want to punch him every time I see him, and so when he comes out smiling,
I would advise against that. He's got a pretty good record.
I would get absolutely wrecked, no doubt about it.
Would be worth it.
But I still, MJF has a very punchable face. I would get wrecked by him. I'm not overestimating my capabilities here, right? Any one of these wrestlers, Britt Baker, I would get wrecked. The simple fact is I'd get wrecked from pretty much anyone there. But Jake Hager has such a punchable. I'd probably try, but I'm betting.
Is this like
betting
your
I
way of
wouldn't
saying you
land.
did it? Because Adam Cole will beat you if you say that.
I'm saying she is a trained fighter, right? And the rules of chivalry go out the window with trained fighters.
Well, baby,
It'd be the only way I could.
Adam Cole Bebe. Thank you for correcting me. I appreciate that.
The only way I would stand a shot at winning a match with any of these people would be with a surprise sucker punch, and that's a slim chance. It would
this is what you do. You get a root canal. You drive down to Florida to get the root canal.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
then before they put me under, I go pop.
Is she actually still practicing her dentistry?
She is, but I thought her practice was still in Pittsburgh.
Maybe,
which is weird. To live in Florida and
whatever. She has people taking care of her stuff, like whatever. She's like the head person. She owns it now, probably, and she's like, "Hey guys, do my stuff. You can use my name. I'll get a shit ton of money for it. You guys
Woodland will get Lakes Dental and where is the address? Show me the address. Nope, it's Orlando. So yeah. So I could fly down to Orlando for a root canal, and then
just a very basic root canal, so I can punch you in the face.
Yeah, I mean she'd then guarantee she had a lot of dental work to do because she'd probably knock the rest of my teeth out.
I'll just take more of your money now.
It'd be probably very profitable for her. And I got to be honest, again, I said I'll try. I'm not even confident I'd actually land the punch.
And then every time you came on the show, you'd be like, I hit that.
Yeah. I hit at that. But that's why bad guys with punchable faces should always be bad guys. And Jake Hager's got a very punchable face. I don't want to see him be a good guy. So let him be a bad guy.
I mean, let's just bring Zeb Coulter in while we're at it, though.
We had Hangman Adam Page take on Dante Martin in a match that probably made Jim Cornette have an aneurysm. Why are they having their champion face off with that loser? Oh my goodness, he's such a lightweight, and all he does is flip-de-doos. So that's setting up future storylines.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, Dante is going to be a star in the future, right?
For sure.
It's not tomorrow.
No. We're talking long-term future, right? Just like I knew Chris Jericho in 1996 was going to be a star of the future, right?
I didn't know he was going to be a world champion, though.
I didn't know that either.
His size was the only thing that worked against him in 96. I'll be the first to admit that. But if there's one thing wrestling has taught us is people can bulk up. And as long as Dante Martin doesn't bulk up to the point that he can't do what he normally does anymore. But here's the deal. In the end, this was about building him up a bit, but also letting him go back to the tag team ranks again after a strong showing here. Because that's what happened with Darius Martin back from his injury. Mm-hmm. They're going to have the Top Flight Martin brothers in their tag division now.
Right.
And so that's really what that's for.
And that is a tag team championship in their near future.
Oh, yes. But it also, this was all about giving Hangman a reason to be in the ring so that Adam Cole could come out, Mr. Bebe himself could come out and say, you got lucky once. Now we're going to have another match. Because I'm going to win it this next time. So you had William Regal come out with Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley. They destroyed the Workhorse, and then William Regal.
Make them be a tag team? Just like fucking... No, by the way, you guys are a tag team.
Yep. You're a tag team now. Yeah. What I really liked, though, is it was like William Regal came out, and he talked for minutes about all of the great things about Bryan Danielson and how he is the perfect wrestler. And I gave him all the advice on how to not make the mistakes I did and all of this stuff. And then, and Jon Moxley likes to hurt people.
Jon Moxley made all the mistakes that I made, so...
Yeah. And that's why I
identify with it.
I just think it's funny. You're the perfect wrestler, and I'm gonna spend 5 minutes talking about how great you are, and then I'm gonna turn to John Moxley and say, yeah, he likes to hurt people, and now you're a team.
That's all you need. Yep.
You had Pac and Penta Oscura come out and beat up on Wheeler Yuta. You had some more stuff with the Red Dragon and Young Bucks going on backstage where Adam Cole was like, you know, he'd said that he's got the perfect tag team to challenge Hangman Page and his partner of choice. And the Young Bucks were like, oh no, if it's going to be against Hangman Page, we're out. We don't want to be a part of this. And then Adam Cole's like, I wasn't going to pick you, Matt. I'm picking Red Dragon. So the fallout's going to continue happening there. The AHFO kicked the H out of AHFO.
Yeah.
And then featured starting to beat down on Matt Hardy. And then Darby Allin and Sting came down to try to even the odds, but they're getting beaten down. And
So
then
Jeff comes out and dances.
Jeff Hardy's music hits, and I've decided to think of it this way. He comes out and he dances on his way down to the ring. He's not dancing, he's powering up.
Right? Is that what he's doing?
Yeah, he's just Dragon Ball Z powering up. That's how he does it on the way to the ring. But Jeff Hardy came out. But the important thing to note is he came out to the Hardy Boys music because AEW was able to secure the rights to the Hardy Boys music.
And that's the Jim Johnson song.
It's not. This was actually not a Jim Johnson. It actually, the funny thing is, it predates WWE. It was actually used in WCW.
This is
really?
just make more of WWE trying to copyright everything they do.
Yeah, but so what happened is WWE licensed it, but wasn't an exclusive license, and so AEW was able to come along. But they apparently got the rights to other songs as well.
Yeah, he apparently had licensed the CD, apparently with like Hardcore Holly and Crash Holly's theme song too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we're going to see either of them in AEW soon.
Well,
but
well, Crash unfortunately has passed, and Hardcore Holly, no one wants to see him. But there was rumors apparently they're going to create some sort of hardcore pay-per-view of some sort soon.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
They do it better than WWE would, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
I think it's funny because I saw notes earlier in the day that they were looking to license the Hardy Boys songs. But then like when it hit, everyone was surprised. And I was like, we heard, I mean, they got the money. So,
yeah, but I think everyone was really just under the impression that it was a Johnson theme song and it was WWE. How come TNA didn't use it? So that has led to believe that it was a WWE.
I'm sure TNA didn't use it because they didn't spend the money. Right.
That's it.
But yeah, no, some of the other Hardy Boys songs were WWE ones, but this one was originally produced by Zach Tempest, and it was used in commercials and TV shows long before WWE used it. WWE never actually owned the rights, but AEW bought the rights to the entire catalog, which includes the Hardcore Holly and Crash Holly Slow Death. I'm trying to remember if there's any other ones that were on that. But like, WWE owns the rights to No More Words. So anyways, Jeff Hardy back. He looks good. He's slimmed down a bit. He's trim and in shape, and so, you know, I mean, the perfect example of a good pickup as long as he's used right, you know. I think the Hardy Boys should be top of the tag team and win the championships? Probably not. Not in my opinion, right? But they can be used to set up the next generation to look really good. So,
absolutely, like a Dante Martin,
like Top Flight versus the Hardy Boys. Tony Schiavone did another interview of Swerve Strickland.
Put that right there in my veins.
Yeah, right in
Top
your
Flight.
Which featured another, hey, Tony, whose house? It's Swerve's house. Swerve's house. But then Tony Nese challenged Swerve to a match that would be on Rampage later.
And we've seen that
on Rampage's main event. Yeah, they also alluded to that too. Hey, we used to wrestle a lot on Fridays, alluding to 205.
205 Live. Let's do it again. Wardlow gave his whole babyface speech about, how he wants out of his contract with MJF. He just wants to put that behind him. He did a really good job for someone who hasn't been put on the mic much.
Oh yeah, definitely believable.
He did a really good job with it.
I want to take care of my family. That was the fastest way to do it, was to work for MJF.
And then you had Jurassic Express versus The Acclaimed. That was a great match. You had Sammy Guevara versus Scorpio Sky. That ended with Scorpio Sky winning and becoming the new TNT champion. It did also feature Sammy Guevara doing a 450 splash through an empty table on the outside, which I
would advise that's not as effective. That's not as effective as hitting your opponent.
Yeah, usually the advice is to hit your opponent with that and not just an empty table.
Yeah, but to each their own.
Yeah, who am I to tell Sammy Guevara, the Spanish God, what to do? I'm just advising. It did have then Ty Conti come out. He literally does
everything in life better than I do.
Yeah, everything. Then Ty Conti came out to help Sammy, which then brought Paige Van Zant out to face off with Ty Conti.
And we called this last week.
And I want to see it. It's what I want to see. And then in the end, after he won Scorpio Sky, there was a pile of bodies in the ring, and Paige Van Zant signed her AEW contract on the back
of Ty Conti's butt.
Ty Conti, yeah. So Paige Van Zant is now All Elite officially. Jeff Hardy is All Elite. A fun show on the whole. Rampage also had Darby Allin versus Mark Quinn, which was fun. It had Jamie Hayter versus Mercedes Martinez, which was fun. And then had Limitless Keith Lee beating the shit out of QT Marshall. And then beating the shit out of Aaron Solo and Nick Camarado. And then looking like he might beat the shit out of Ricky Starks, but then Powerhouse Hobbs plants him with a spine
Hobbs
buster.
just destroyed him, yeah.
Which in the end, I'm sitting here going, why did I not think Hobbs versus Lee is the way it needs to go? Like, that wasn't the way my brain was going, but now I see it perfectly. This is the way you set up Powerhouse Hobbs and Keith Lee. I mean, this is going to be big men slapping meat, and I'm here for it.
That sounds so.
And then
so dirty.
Let me refer you to a website.
Nope, I already know those websites, but I'm going to prefer to see Hobbs versus Lee, big men slapping meat.
I feel like we might have another website for that too. Yeah.
And then the main event was Swerve Strickland versus Tony Nese. Good match all in all.
Nope.
A nice way to introduce Swerve to the AEW crowd, because if you didn't watch NXT and you didn't watch the Indies or Lucha Underground or whatever, you might not know Swerve that well.
I will say at this juncture, I am not as in on Swerve's gimmick as some other people.
I think there's more layers to the gimmick to come.
I sure hope so.
Swerve has mentioned in other interviews
Great heel, by the way.
that when hiring Shane Strickland, you don't just get Shane Strickland, you get the whole package. And he talks about his music career, and he talks about some other stuff here, and we know that there has been some heat on Twitter between certain members of the AEW roster and certain members of Hit Row, including Top Dollar. Which makes me wonder if the heat between Top Dollar and the other members of the AEW roster is not generated heat, storyline heat, leading up to a faction similar to Hit Row in AEW.
Because they mentioned the whole rapper thing too. Mm-hmm. He's like not only do I rap, I wrestle, blah, blah, blah.
And he said you get the whole package. You don't just get Shane Strickland, you get the whole package. Mm-hmm. So, but in the end, everything AEW did this week hit, in my opinion. Like, some of it wasn't top tier. It coming down after Revolution, there was always going to be a little bit of because Revolution was 4 hours of nonstop.
I'm still exhausted. It's been a week.
Yeah. And so there was going to be a little bit, but they didn't have anything that missed this week. It was all still good stuff. So, WWE was meh.
I mean, I guess in terms of WWE, might be worth talking about potentially Cody Rhodes showing up tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's a good chance of that. I mean, I'm not saying it's 100%, but if he does show up, I'm putting together a supercut of all the times you said it's a work.
By all means.
And then playing it on the next
I mean,
show.
I still think it's a work, but at the end of the day, I would also be super down to see Cody versus Seth. That sounds fire for Mania. That's
the interesting thing is they're still not ink on paper. And
as far as we know, nothing's been signed yet.
Yeah.
In fact, they've told Seth to be prepared for a different match at Mania.
Mm-hmm. But again,
they can't put ink on paper. And
again,
that to me, letting those rumors fly right now without ink on paper is nerve-wracking.
WWE's whole thing,
we know though,
ever since Cody Rhodes became a free agent, has been let these rumors fly, because in the end,
if you want to mark my words, I guarantee you it's going to be Veer. It's going to be Seth Rollins versus Veer at freaking WrestleMania.
Mark Veer has finally
came.
Yeah, he's not going to have any energy to wrestle after.
Yeah, there won't even be a
coming for 4 months straight.
Yeah. So, I mean, WWE is known to disappoint that much. Mark my words, it's going to be Veer.
No. Now, again, I'm not 100% saying he's going to show up tomorrow.
Right.
I've said since the beginning of this, I don't know. I mean, I know no more than the average schmo out there, right?
Right.
But I feel like it's probably a shoot. I feel like all the evidence points to it being a shoot. I think the problem is, I think Cody overplayed himself a bit. He overvalued himself with AEW, and when that didn't work out and he walked, WWE knew that he no longer had the leverage that he once had. When he was still working WWE versus AEW, the power was in his hands. But once AEW was no longer on the table, WWE was like, well, now the power's back in our hands. You're worth what we say you're worth. And Cody reportedly was like, no, I want more. And they were like, nah.
I don't know, but I still see Vince throwing him like $5 million. Like, all right, come. You do have to stay for 2 years, $5 million. Here you go. It's not quite 3, but it's guaranteed. We can't fire you.
On the roster on income.
And we'll give you NXT. We'll give you NXT level up to do whatever you want with for an hour.
Yeah. I can guarantee right now, McMahon's not doing anything guaranteed. There's
I mean,
The contract that Cody Rhodes is going to get is still going to have the ability for
Basic
WWE
you're fired.
to out at any time. He's
Well, if
Cody
they want to do
Rhodes.
that, though, it would piss AEW off. This is more really just to piss AEW off. You know what I mean? And Vince would be down for that.
In the end, Vince McMahon and WWE consider any sort of signing of Cody to be the victory. I get it. But the biggest thing is they consider being able to even just suggest that Cody might be on WWE the victory. Even if Cody never shows up, they feel like they've got the victory because they were able to lure one of AEW's top stars away.
Right.
Even if he doesn't sign, we took one of their top stars out of the picture by playing them against each other.
Well, the other
right?
piece to that is it's also very easy for them to turn around by SummerSlam, have him fired.
Yeah.
Just be like, I'm going to do the same thing I did with your dad so many years ago.
Yep. There's no way, which might be the sticking point, is that Cody Rhodes wants something guaranteed and WWE saying no. I can't say it isn't. I can't say it is. I don't know. But what I can say is I do not see WWE giving Cody Rhodes any different of a contract than they give anyone else. The only thing that's going to be different potentially is the number. They'll throw money at him, but they're not going to give up the ability to shit can him whenever they want to. Right?
They can shit can Brock anytime they want to.
If they throw money at him, and let's say they say $3 million, and then they shit can him, do they still get the $3 million?
They get the prorated amount of it. It's because when you're signed for, say, $3 million a year, right? It's technically broken up into X number of paychecks.
You get 6 months worth of okay.
It's broken up into X number of paychecks based on X number of appearances.
So if he works for 3 months through them firing him at SummerSlam, like I said before, months, he'll get 7 months worth of that year because he'll get the 90-day non-compete as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which that also means he's got $1.8 million in his pocket if he's getting $3 million a year. Puts him at Bobby Lashley level money.
Yep.
But he thinks he's so far above that too. So I don't know. I would still do it, man. They get because Cody versus Seth, I feel is money.
I think it's worth the money. Again, my point is I don't think they're going to do anything else special for it. It is purely going to be a financial transaction.
Well, what's $5 million to him? Yo, we guarantee you 2.5 you'll get for sure. The other 2.5 you have to work for the year. We'll give you $5 million this year.
In the end, that's not the way Vince McMahon works. Vince McMahon does not work in guaranteed contracts.
But he's going to make a shit ton with WrestleMania. And viewership.
Will they really? I'm being honest here, right? Because remember,
is Cody enough of a needle mover to increase WrestleMania? Yes. I don't think he is.
I think he's a little bit of a needle mover, but I think in Vince McMahon's mind, Brock Lesnar is the bigger needle mover.
WrestleMania
Brock Lesnar will always
needle
be
mover for WrestleMania.
Yeah, but in the end, here's the thing that comes down to it. Let's stop and take a moment to think about how does WWE earn its money?
Saudi Arabia.
Does it earn its money? No, he's actually right. Saudi Arabia is a big one. The Peacock deal is a big one. The Fox deal is a big one, right? Those are the three big ways that they make their money. They do not make the majority of their money on ticket sales. Ticket sales are something, but they're going to sell out WrestleMania regardless of who's on the ticket, right?
Right.
They don't make their money based on pay-per-view
you know
buys.
how many bad WrestleManias we have to have in a row before they don't sell out WrestleMania?
Yeah. They don't make their money on pay-per-view buys. They don't make their money on network subscriptions in the United States, at least anymore, because it's all their deal with Peacock or Disney Plus over in Indonesia, you know, all of this stuff. So in the end, WWE does not make more money if more people sign up for Peacock, right?
All right.
The way their contract is, they make the same amount whether they get a million new signups or not, right? Now, it would enhance their chances of re-signing the deal at the end of their 5 years and yada, 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 right?
Right.
But that's not them making money. One WrestleMania appearance by anyone does not actually make WWE any more money.
Oh, that's fair.
Especially Mania.
Especially Mania. Mania is going to sell. Like, if this was someone showing up at WrestleMania Payback, right? Typically
Backlash.
lower performing Backlash or whatever it's called, a typically lower performing pay-per-view that they need some fizz to bring it up. It's a different thing there. But in the end, it's still WWE does not make their money off the pay-per-views. Right. They make their money off of the deals they've signed based on the popularity of their product overall.
They have gone from content creators to producers. Mm-hmm. They are now a producer who is selling the content to somebody else.
Yep.
Right.
And so, Tony Khan is still at the content creator stage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's the deal. It's in the end, WWE is about what's going to be best for the product long run in terms of signing. That looked like it didn't taste particularly great.
Oh, yeah. Purple Haze, not the best flavor.
What was it?
Purple Haze. Bang, Purple Haze.
I mean, that's a great other kind of substance in a non-drink form.
Mm-hmm. Yep, pretty much. So here's the deal: is will it move the needle in terms of popularity? Yeah, Cody Rhodes coming back will get popularity. It'll get
really, bro.
Some eyes on the product. Stuff like that. But in the end, it's not going to lead to more money coming into WWE directly, right? Not short term, maybe long term, right? So because of that, WWE's math is not about what's going to be the biggest match or the most popular match for us to do at WrestleMania. It's about what's going to move the needle long term and help us guarantee that Fox signs us to another deal.
What helps us keep Fox on? What helps us keep Peacock on?
What helps
not
us keep
NBC,
Saudi Arabia.
not USA.
Yep, Peacock.
USA is just an add-on piece to the Peacock deal.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Even though the Peacock deal is part of USA, NBC Universal, the Peacock deal became the more important facet to that.
Yep. And that's the deal is in the end, would Cody Rhodes help bring eyes to the product long term? Yes, I think he would. I think especially with the enhanced publicity based on his Roads to the Top reality show that lasted a season. Was it two seasons?
They were in the filming of the second season.
In the filming of the second season, so they haven't aired any of the second season. So one season of Roads to the Top. The Go Big show elevated Cody Rhodes' popularity, or at least his what's the word I'm looking for? Exposure. Mm-hmm. And so all of those things are things that WWE might like, but in the end, in WWE's mind, who's the bigger needle mover long term? Cody Rhodes or Brock Lesnar? Brock Lesnar. Vince McMahon thinks Brock Lesnar is the biggest star in the sport. Who's the bigger needle mover in Vince McMahon's mind? Cody Rhodes or Goldberg coming back for another match? In Vince McMahon's mind, probably Goldberg. Vince McMahon doesn't see Cody Rhodes as the top tier needle mover that Cody Rhodes thinks he is. And the thing is, I don't disagree with Vince on this. I think Cody Rhodes missed his chance. If Cody Rhodes had turned heel 6 months ago, when we all wanted him to, he could be the biggest needle mover. He would have been the biggest heel in the game if he would have turned heel and...
Sorry.
You have ADD galore. Holy shit.
But in the end, Vince McMahon understands that Cody Rhodes, in the long run, he's a blip. He brings some stuff here, but he's not going to be a $3 million a year guy long term, right? I don't think so. Again, they might throw $3 million for 1 year at him to try to get this short term publicity sort of thing. He's gonna be. He's a good product. He'll put out good matches. He'll be top tier in their in their on their show on a regular basis. But in the end, Vince McMahon does not see Cody Rhodes or Seth Rollins or, half a dozen Kevin Owens as needle movers. They're utility pieces to help set up the needle movers. And the needle movers are Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, maybe Bobby Lashley. You can tell who Vince McMahon thinks are the needle movers based on how he presents them on the show.
Based on who he pays.
Yeah, but no,
John
even
Cena and The Rock and Brock Lesnar are the three highest paid people in WWE.
He gave Kevin Owens over $2 million a year, right? He paid Kevin Owens, but you can tell based on how he presents them. Kevin Owens is still presented as a comedy act, right? Seth Rollins is presented as the drip master comedy act. Those aren't the people that Vince McMahon sees as needle movers. Those are the utility players. And you got to have them. For every Undertaker, you've got to have a utility player for them to face off against on a regular basis, right? But that's where Vince McMahon is like, right now, he's shit. I don't have anyone right now to be that utility player against my top tier guys, and I don't have enough top tier guys in the end. And that's where Vince McMahon is trying to find the next top tier guy. Vince McMahon thinks Braun Breaker can probably be a needle mover.
He did have that tag match, right?
He did have that tag match, and then he lost the NXT Championship because they're probably going to call him up to main roster here soon. Now, we talked earlier about someone who didn't train long enough in NXT. I like Braun Breaker, but if there's an example of someone who hasn't had enough training to truly trust, Braun Breaker would be top of my list. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I like him. I like his lineage. I'm sure he had training from his dad, even though they don't talk about it, right? But in the end, up until a year ago, he was a football player.
Side note, man, did he put on a great show tagging with Tommaso Ciampa doing the throwbacks to DIY. When they jump on the side of the ring and they do they pat their own backs. That was fantastic. The dude can act too. Just a little side note.
Dolph Ziggler winning the title was weird for me. I felt very weird about that. I don't know what that does, really. Stupid.
Well, he is the 10th highest paid employee for WWE as a performer.
Still stupid. I don't care how much you're paying him. Why are you making him win the NXT title? Like, this is your product now, Vince. It's not even Triple H's product anymore, and you're still making it look stupid. I don't know anymore.
You okay?
I'm just done like dinner.
I mean, here's the deal: is like, Dolph Ziggler being the 10th highest paid. Undertaker still makes $3 million a year. And he doesn't actively wrestle. He's the one thing that you have to consider there, though. Anytime you see all these things here, in terms of highest paid, that does include merch residuals. That does include stuff like that. So Brock Lesnar sells a ton of merch. John Cena sells a ton of merch. I bet you his base salary from WWE is peanuts, right? But he still sells so much merch because he always was a merch.
Damn.
I have a friend who has a daughter with a John Cena shirt.
I sent you a picture today of my daughter wearing the John Cena shirt. I mean, I think it was.
I couldn't see it. I don't know.
It looked like a blank picture, but she was eating a hot dog wearing her John Cena.
Yeah, someone was eating crazy
floating hot dog.
Floating. Craziness. I was like, how did you do that? That's wild.
What is this chicanery?
Look at Mother Nature eating a hot dog.
My daughter this morning. No, first of all, I have to take a moment to talk about the weather here in Nebraska and say, can we please stop having the weather look like the random Powerball numbers for the week? 18, 22, 64, 13.
I mean, I feel like all over the states has that though. No.
Yeah, it was
Like,
it
I
was
always
almost
hear that.
70 degrees here in Nebraska today, and it was. I say this with all thing blizzarding on last Monday here in Omaha. It was so cold on Thursday that my car almost didn't start. And then today
Sorry,
it
I'm
was
gonna shut that
64
off.
degrees. In fact, yesterday,
My bad. Hold on.
my wife and I went to the zoo with our daughter, and it was 40 degrees here in Omaha, and it was
Beautiful
almost
weather.
70 today. It's nuts. Wish I would have gone today. Would have been so much nicer to have gone today.
You have a membership. Just go.
My wife has this whole thing of, and I don't disagree with it, but she wants to do the stuff on Saturday so we have Sunday to recover because we're
I'm
old.
into that.
And so we went on Saturday, and then my legs felt like Jell-O the rest of Saturday. And
What flavor?
Sunday morning, I'm not flexible enough to taste them, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I've tried. I go, nope, can't reach. If
Did you
someone
need
makes
some
a
help
gif
with
of
that?
that, make sure to tag me in it, though. That's all I'm asking.
Saw that on a website once.
But so in the end, I think Cody Rhodes, and I'm not a fan of a lot of things WWE does, but I think Cody Rhodes coming into WWE would be a good thing for him. I think he is a good enough wrestler to bring some much needed veteran star power to them. But in the end, I know, and I believe B.A. Fabe, you know, that Vince McMahon doesn't see him as the same level of star
No.
that other people do. And
Nope, sure doesn't.
and so in the end, whatever money they throw at him is going to be based on short-term pop and not long-term whatever. And that's why I just know that JLB, saying, oh, they're going to throw him $5 million guaranteed 2 years or whatever, is not going to happen. It's just not.
And he's not even here to defend himself.
Yeah, he's
He's
should
back.
be back here soon.
I'm
Yes,
here to
he's
defend
back.
myself.
Yeah,
Get back
I am here to
again.
defend myself. What do I need to defend myself against, you freaking asshats?
me saying how you were wrong that Vince McMahon is not going to give him a guaranteed contract. That's all I was saying. It's just not going to happen.
Okay.
There's going to be no guarantee on that.
I mean,
that's
you
not
should
how
know
Vince
that there's no guarantee on what Vince McMahon will do.
If there's one thing I know, Vince McMahon, is he doesn't like to spend money that he doesn't need to. And which is why I know he's not going to sign a contract that could make him spend money when he doesn't need to. Vince McMahon is going to always structure the contract in a way that gives him the ability to stop spending money on something if he does not think it's working. Right? If this was Ted Turner back in the 90s, he totally would throw $100,000 a year at the genius to sit at home and do nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But but Vince McMahon doesn't do that. Vince McMahon doesn't spend money on what he doesn't need. And we've seen that over this last 2 years. As soon as Vince McMahon decides that he doesn't need a wrestler, that a wrestler doesn't fit his long-term goals of profitability, they get the call from Pritchard, from Johnny Ace, saying, hey guys, budget cuts.
We're getting close, guys. April
we're getting close to
coming
the
up.
Yep. The next round,
It's
right
like
after
its own
WrestleMania.
event. Yeah, it's like the lottery that you were talking about before. Only this one's once every 4 months.
3 months because it's quarterly. So,
Oh, valid.
but yeah, it's gonna it's basically right after WrestleMania. They'll do WrestleMania, they'll do their earnings call, and then we'll see around. Now,
A whole bunch of people get fired.
What I'm hoping is because of the amount they've fired over the last 2 years, that the sheer volume of it will be down. You know what I mean? It's not going to be 80 wrestlers. It's going to be maybe 20 or 30, maybe.
Right.
I would like it to be less, but that's what
Like it
I
to be
anticipate.
somewhere next to 0.
I would like it to be, very little. But,
Teeny tiny.
Un poquito.
But anyways, but on
Yes.
that note, we have talked for almost 2 hours about this. We talked about shitty stuff at the beginning. And
Soon.
Great stuff in
pay-per-views.
the middle and
good
shittier stuff
and
in
then
the
kind
end.
of shitty stuff in the end. But in the end, it wasn't a bad week overall for wrestling, except for the 2 shitty things that happened on Friday and then Saturday. So I don't know what else to say except our thoughts are out with Scott Hall. Our thoughts are still out with Big E, hoping both of them have the recoveries that we want them to.
Yep.
But yeah, unless you guys have anything else that you want to talk about, I think we'll start to wrap things up.
Yeah, I think we can.
Wrestling.
Yeah,
booking
I
unit.
think no, that pretty
Mania's
much.
around the corner. Getting ready for that
Yeah.
week, that hell week.
What do we have? 2 weeks left? 3 weeks, I think, right?
Why does NXT have a premium event too, or something?
NXT is doing one on the Saturday afternoon, a matinee.
What?
Yes.
Again, just a reminder, we pay with t-shirt and hats any volunteer who comes and understudies with Raw and Order. Duties include babysitting our children. You pay for travel and provide us with reasonable services like foot massages, getting us coffee, and cleaning. Must be available in Nebraska or Montreal.
Yeah.
I also have no kids, so you might be doing very limited for me. You might be maybe do my
Montreal
laundry.
is actually just coffee and foot massages.
Yes. Oh, that'd be great. And maybe some back cracks. You might have to do some back cracking.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. So yeah, we have
A nice-
3
a
weeks
nice
till
shampooing.
WrestleMania. 3 weeks till WrestleMania.
Nice.
3 weeks to build up this thing. Now let's when talking about Cody Rhodes, him showing up in Jacksonville would be the logical thing because of his typical location and the fact that it's the home of AEW, the home away from home sort of a thing. But they also, again, we don't have pencil to paper as far as we know. And they might just decide this is a WrestleMania surprise to do. Even if they had pencil to paper, they might say, let's hold it off till WrestleMania. Who knows? But
Yeah, it could be like a mystery opponent thing. That'd be kind of
Yep.
cool.
But we're going to go ahead and start to wrap things up for this. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the video. Give it a thumbs up on whatever platform you use to watch it. If you're not already following us on Twitch, make sure to go over and do it, twitch.tv/rawandorderwbu. And I keep stressing that because we will be having some Twitch exclusive streams that will not be on the podcast. They will not be on YouTube or Facebook. They will just be on Twitch. So make sure to follow us there if you want to be a part of those. If you haven't joined us for one of our live streams, we'd love to have you come join us on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, wherever you want to. Although we'd love to see you on Twitch. That's the best place to go. So you can find all the links for that in the doobly-doos down below. You can find all of our social medias in the doobly-doos. Of course, you can follow me at rawandorderwbu, just like it says right down there. That's on Twitch, on YouTube, on Twitter,
Everywhere
Instagram,
but Facebook.
TikTok, everywhere but Facebook. On Facebook, you, of course, have to do at Pissant Podcast because Facebook is weird. I don't know. But you can follow DA Fabe at
DA Vincent Kayfabe.
Yeah. And you can follow JLB at
So you can follow me at JLB420. Real Talk Radio, though, is the brand at Real Talk Radio 8. I am very active on Twitch now with a lot of video game streams. So if you are a gamer, you can also follow me at JLBTLC25. I will look to try just getting everything with one freaking tag, because I feel like that would just be easier for everything. But I do have a LinkTree, so you can feel free to visit that LinkTree, which will have all of that goody stuff. And yeah, and that's it, good sir. Guys, this one was a good one, minus the Big E news and the Scott Hall news, but everything else was pretty solid.
LinkTree for you is in the doobly-doos as well.
Oh, thank you.
I did.
Also, if you live in a daylight savings area, remember last night your clocks moved forward.
Yes.
Jesus, if you still don't know that by now, it's
fucking daylight savings times. I posted on Facebook though. I said, you don't lose an hour of sleep if you're not asleep yet when the time changes. Galaxy brain right there.
I went to bed at 5 a.m. It would have been 4, but I went to bed at 5 a.m. and I was like, oh yeah, daylight savings. Didn't change much.
But so you can support us on Patreon, right? Patreon.com/rawandorderwbu, or you can support us by hopping online and getting a Pissant podcast t-shirt or hat or bear or whatever. The hats are awesome. This is a flex fit and I love it because it doesn't have the stupid clasp at the back. I fucking hate snapbacks. I do have a snapback
that says, I don't know, those who can't wrestle
podcast. Yep, which I should be wearing on Tuesday. Or you can get a Sasha Bear shirt or a Sasha Bear. Still available. Sasha Bear. But you can find all of that at our Spreadshirt shop. Link is in the doobly-doo, but it's rawandorderwbu at myspreadshop.com. But just head on down to the doobly-doos to find all of that stuff. Or you can support us by giving us the like, share, and subscribe, and just sharing this with your friends. It's the free way to support us. But on that note, we're going to go ahead and close the book on the Wrestling Booking Unit. Thank you all for listening. We will see you soon.
Can't see us now, though.